This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're just outside of Aurora, Colorado. I'm here with Fixed Sight Training. Since 2010, they have been Denver area's highest rated training in pistols, rifles, and shotguns. I'm here with Chris, who's the owner, certified instructor. Thanks for joining us here on the range, Chris. Let's start off a little bit about yourself. Really, 15 years you've been training folks out here in the range, but you've got about double that amount of experience personally in the shooting area. Obviously, you enjoy instructing folks. You began training pilots, I believe. Share with me a little bit of how you got involved in this type of industry.
Well, shooting is something I've always enjoyed doing since I was a little kid. It's just something I did with my family, my grandparents, my friends. That was just something we always did. So when I decided that I didn't want to be a pilot anymore and get out of training pilots, I thought, what can I do that's going to combine what I like doing, teaching and shooting, and that brought me here. So I started taking some lessons. I already had a pretty good background, but I took some more lessons, took some more training, got certified to train for the CCW and then the more advanced pistol. And then we started getting into the longer range rifle training. And then I added the shotgun training just because it's something I've always enjoyed doing as well. And I figured if you're going to in for a little bit, you might as well just do it all.
You were able to take two passions that you loved, which is the shooting as well as the instructing. Let me ask you this. We got rifles, pistols, shotguns. These things have been around for centuries. Why do you think it is today this type of training is more appreciated and possibly even more in demand than when you first started shooting 30 years ago?
Well, when I started shooting, it was more of a family thing. It wasn't as commercialized as it is now. It's good and bad. Now the training is a little bit better than it used to be. I certainly, if I would have been my instructor 30 years ago, I would have wasted a lot less ammo by missing. So I try to bring that into it. The price of the equipment has certainly gone up. The price of ammo has certainly gone up, and just the time restraints of a lot of people. They don't have time to just go out and blow ammo like I did to learn. So that's really the biggest thing. And then there's always the advent of the CCW, the concealed carry weapons process. That has certainly changed a lot of the training, whereas it used to be just kind of having one around the house. Now it is, a real viable way to protect yourself.
Let me ask you, one of the things I notice here is that the training we're talking about, why is there different training for different types of firearms? Because I notice you've got pistols and shotguns, rifles. Why the different type of training important?
Well, the pistol is primarily defensive and sporting. The same kind of shooting is used both places. It's a kind of a quicker, reflexive type of shooting. Same with the shotgun. It's actually the same type of shooting where it's just reflexive. You just do it really quick and it's over. Whereas the long-range rifle is all about the science. It's meteorology. There's metallurgy, the chemistry, wave science. All of that kind of goes into one explosion to make sure that the round hits, within inches of where you want it to hit at a quarter mile away or farther.
Interesting. One of the things I see here is the fact that you basically on purpose limit your class size so that basically you can have more of a one-on-one approach. Is this a great way to have a customized experience with the student?
Absolutely. I've got people who've never shot before and are terrified of guns, and by the end of the class they're usually on their way to a gun store to start looking. And then I've got also military, law enforcement who come and train here for the different types of weapons, and then children. Children, once you teach a kid 10, 11 years old how to handle a gun correctly and safely, they'll be doing it that way for the rest of their lives, and they will be able to be safe forever.
Wonderful. I mean, the range you got out here really is an open space. It's pretty accessible right off the highway here outside of Aurora. This range here, what does it provide? What type of targets are you able to do here, as well as what type of training?
Well, that's interesting. In the concealed carry and the pistol range, what I mostly use is steel targets on a dirt background. With paper targets, which is more standard, you don't really see where you're hitting. You bring it back afterwards and say, well, I hit here, 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 but I don't know which round went here, 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 and here. Whereas where we shoot, we have a dirt splash, and you can see exactly where every round went. It helps you be much more accurate, train much faster, and usually I can tell if there's a mistake much easier, and not afterwards say, well, this one you pulled it, that one you flinched, that one you weren't looking at the front sight. I can do it instantly.
Interesting. The shooting range is open. Does that make it easy also for shooting while you're moving, and obviously great for long range as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I control everything on the range. We don't usually have a lot of people here. Sometimes there'll be somebody on a different part of the range. But when I'm teaching concealed carry, it's only us on the concealed carry. So we can, yeah, shoot on the move, use the holster. I expect people to be able to handle the holster in the level 2 and advanced classes. And that means that the gun will be loaded in the holster the whole class. And then you can only shoot when you're at the firing line, obviously.
Let me ask you this. Let's start off a little bit, break down some of the training here. Let's talk about the basic pistol training. What type of things are folks going to be learning during that class?
Well, in the basic class, it's also the concealed carry class. They're going to learn the laws and the procedures and the decision making involved with using a gun defensively, whether it's concealed carry or in the house or in the car. We're going to cover all of that. And then we are going to discuss how a gun works. The safety principles are always going to be pretty high on the list, obviously. And then we're going to do a bunch of shooting, different types of shooting, both slow fire for more bullseye type shooting, but that's not very user friendly for defensive shooting. Then we get into more of the reflexive, quicker shooting, front sight shooting.
Touch a little bit more on sight shooting. You said slow fire. What does that mean, basically?
Slow fire is just, taking the pistol out, aligning the sights as accurately as possible, gentle squeeze on the trigger. It takes a long time to really get that most accurate shot possible. In a defensive situation, it's not usable. So what we concentrate more is just focusing on the front sight. Nice squeeze on the trigger. It's almost as accurate, and it's much, much faster.
Interesting. Let's move on to rifle training. What type of things are folks going to be learning out there with the rifles?
Well, ballistics, we're going to be talking about range estimation and how to do that. And then ballistics, there's going to be a chart that I'll give you for your rifle, your ammo, your scope, and it's going to say, if you're 0 to 100, it's going to drop this much at 200, this much at 300, out to 1,200 yards usually. And that's just through a program I have that'll tell you, and then we're going to just apply that math as we sight in closer than this. As we apply the math, we can just go backwards.
So we're talking some real concerns when we're talking about long range. We're meaning wind speed, if you're shooting uphill or shooting downhill, possibly the altitude, even the temperature. Are these all things that are taken into consideration?
Absolutely. Every one of those will affect how far the round's going to travel and where it's going to hit on the target. So we have to take all that into account.
How does the rifle training versus the shotgun training, and really those two types of firearms, how are they different for folks that wouldn't know?
Well, a rifle, like I said, it's all science. It's using the math, whereas a shotgun is just sheer visceral fun. We shoot a little clay disc into the air, and then we shoot it out of the air, and we use a shotgun shoots a bundle of BBs, and so it's a pattern that comes out. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but you can shoot a little 5-inch disc out of the air. It's a lot of fun. You can break stuff.
This is a great range because obviously folks, they invest quite a bit of money in their firearms anymore. And obviously when you come out with a rifle, you want a place where you can actually shoot it long enough distance. You're not limited by some of these 100 yards. Is that a big difference, and do folks seem to enjoy that?
Yeah, I mean, these rifles are fairly expensive. The ammo is fairly expensive, and at 100 yards, you're not really learning what the rifle will do. And that means that the shooter is probably going to be the weak link. So out here, not only can you shoot longer distances, but you can see how those distances are going to affect it, and it works for hunting rifles, varmint rifles, the dedicated long range, just sporting rifles like the sniper rifles, but we would use them for sporting purposes.
Movable auto traps, what are those basically, and are you able to utilize them out here?
We do have movable auto traps. It's the thing that I use to throw the little clay discs that we shoot with the shotguns, and I have a wireless remote that I can use that, and we can walk around. We can set them out in the field and walk around and make any different presentation that we need. If people have a trouble, with the crossing targets, because you have to build in the lead, then we can put that in. Again, it's just us on this range, so we don't have to wait for other people, and we can take our time and make sure that everybody's comfortable and has a chance to rest when they need to.
So any folks out there that would love to take part and get themselves registered to be a concealed Colorado carrier, you're able to walk them through those steps, is that right?
That's true, yes. It's on my website, on the app, what the requirements are. When you come to this class, I bring the certificates to the class, and you can leave with yours after you completed the class. And then it's just a function of going to the sheriff with that certificate and filling out the paperwork and following their directions to actually get the CCW.
So you've got the age requirement of 21, but out here in the range, what are some of the ages you're able to accommodate?
I have had kids down to 5, and they were in control of their parents or me the whole time. They were never even holding the gun. It was just kind of helping them. Usually at about 10 or 11 is where I find the kids are mature enough to really start to, to grasp the big picture of this and to respect the guns enough. So that's usually just an arbitrary 10 is what I put in. If people want their younger kids, hey, he's really mature, I really trust him, then I'm willing to work with that.
We're talking about habits and really respect for the firearms that these kids will probably have for the rest of their lives.
That's absolutely true.
Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. On the website, first of all, you can take a look at some of the classes they offer. We're talking about pretty much every Saturday they're out here, and you can really sign up individually for yourself. You can bring a family out, an entire team, and they will basically provide a great way to learn about your firearm, as well as a respect of the firearm. And safety, like you said, is number one with you. Let me ask you, a lot of times I see corporate events where people are able to team build. Is this a great way to do that?
This is a great way to do that. With in just one event, you can shoot the long-range rifle, shotgun, pistols, and even an AR-15 type rifle. See why it's the most popular rifle made in Colorado, in the United States these days. And you can do all of that with an instructor right next to you. The ammo, the firearms are all included, and you'll be the only group on the range again, so you won't be rushed through. You can take your time, have a good time.
So this is still a passion of yours, I would imagine. It's got to be fun watching some of the young youth as they go through the different progressions and actually learn more about their firearm. Is that really a rewarding investment for you?
It very is, yeah, very much is. I really enjoy working with the kids. They're so enthusiastic, and they're like little sponges. You tell them something, then they just pick it up, and they're so quick to learn. And then they get really enthusiastic and want to come do more. So.
That is wonderful. Viewers, last time, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. You're going to see their contact information. All you have to do basically is pick up the phone, give him a call. He'll walk you through the different classes they have. You can actually book it right there online, just a couple clicks away, and set it up. You also want to make sure and see if they've got any certificates, basically specials they got going on. You can check it out there as well. And remember, that's again Fixed Sight Training, Denver area's highest rated training, right here outside of Aurora, Colorado. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Denver, Colorado. We're in downtown with Keller Williams. Since 1983, with over 700 worldwide offices, they have been providing assistance when it comes to real estate. I'm with the associate broker, Kara. Thanks for joining us here today. Wonderful. Let me ask you this. Obviously, this is one industry, as you know, is ever changing constantly. I don't care if it's year by year, month by month, the industry changes. Is that why one of the reasons why it's important to have a professional in a person's corner when they get involved?
The market is ever volatile and it's changing all the time. And right now is a very unique environment in which not only here in the city of Denver, but in the entire nation, we're looking at very low levels of inventory, and that changes whether you're looking at a seller's market or a buyer's market. That can change whether you want to sell now or sell later. And that's really important things for people to look at when they're buying or selling or investing in real estate.
Wonderful. I mean, obviously, this really has to be one of the biggest transactions that we as typical Americans make in our life, buying or selling real estate. This probably isn't the best time to be a do-it-yourselfer. What are some of the pitfalls and challenges that folks encounter when they try to do it themselves?
Well, there are many, beginning with marketing. I mean, 90% of buyers and sellers look first on the internet. And many people are doing their own research, which is great that there are free websites and free avenues for people to get started. However, it may lead them in a direction in which they think that they can do it on their own. And then they get into the closing process, and there's so many dates and deadlines, things to worry about as far as lending, and in every facet of the industry that they find themselves way over their heads, end up needing litigation or legal help, which ends up being even more expensive in the end, coming with a respected real estate professional in the first place.
I think what's amazing about the education for an agent is the fact that you're able to help on both sides of the coin, be it buying or selling, and that makes it very, very creative that you have to be in a way as far as negotiating. Is that something you pride yourself on?
I learn something new every day. Each situation is completely different, and each situation brings me to learn, my clients to learn as well. And so in an ever-learning process like that, having a professional to guide you is really invaluable.
One of the things, let's go right into the buyer's resources that you're able to help folks out there that are buying a home. How is Keller Williams able to use technology and helping the folks out there zone in on what they're searching for?
Well, one of the main things that I love to use is my mobile app. Basically, it's an app that you can download to your phone, and what it does is it maps your location exactly where you are, and you can pull it up on your phone at any time, and it'll show you MLS listings up to the minute in which you're able to search the homes that are nearby. And instead of having to rifle through all the online sites, you're able to just contact me right away if you find something you like. And that way you can get a showing or whatever you need from me right away, rather than having to sift through all of the online media.
So we're talking about being able to save some time for sure, to be able to have all that information right at your fingertips, right there in your hand, which is wonderful. Basically, you pride yourself on not only understanding the area and the market, but also getting to know your client as well. How important is that first consultation that you have with folks?
That is the most important thing, actually. It really is. Getting to know the client and getting to know their needs is crucial. And many real estate agencies do not offer a buyer's consultation. That's something that I think is the most important thing. And so not only do you get to know me, I'm a Denver native, I know the area very well, but I get to know you in the sense that not only who you are, what you do, what you like, but what you need in your new home. If you want that two-car garage and the very specific details that need to be known for me to find the perfect house for you.
I mean, you're a Denver native, you're well-traveled, basically know the area, so it's more than just the home, but around the surrounding areas, the schools, the parks, recreation. Those are all important factors that I'm sure you can bring to the table.
Oh, absolutely. And those are things that are very important to buyers and sellers. So knowing you and knowing my buyers, knowing my sellers is key, crucial.
Regardless if folks are relocating here to Denver, or maybe this is their first home that they're buying, basically it almost gets to be to a point where it's kind of an art in pricing your home if you're deciding to sell. I mean, not only do you want the best investment out of it, but you also want to do it in a timely manner, and is that where you come in?
Absolutely. Experts help you decide price. However, market determines price. And price is determined by what buyers are willing to buy at and what sellers are selling at. So the market is determining the price, whereas the expert like myself is honing in on exactly what you need, what you want, and the price that the homeowner and the buyer can agree on.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, when a person gets involved like this, a mistake can really cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and also cost you a lot of time as well. Sometimes something as simple yet as critical as staging their home when they're selling it are these areas that you're able to help with.
Bringing in staging professionals is very important to selling a home, and often it actually gets you 10 to 12% more for your home than if you don't. Those are things that buyers pick up on, and everyone loves their own home. However, making sure that things are just perfectly placed by a professional, and knowing a network of professionals as a real estate agent is very important to the process.
Wonderful. A lot of steps out there that you can help people with, not only going through the process, but even before they begin the process. Maybe they should give you a call. We're talking about pre-qualifying, kind of zeroing in on what you want. Are those things matter when it comes to time?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, pre-qualification, pre-approval is key to getting me to know where you want to be and where you need to be in the market.
Excellent. Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is her personal web page right there. On the web page, first of all, you've got tons of resources. Regardless if you're buying or you're selling, you can really just literally click right there, search through the Denver area. We're talking about staying on top of what's on the MLS. Like she said, there's resources out there you can find online that are free. Many times they're not updated as continual as the items that you have there. You've also got an app that you're able to provide right there in your hand. You can have all the resources as well as the phone number to the agent, and she's just a phone call away. You can also check out on the web page there mortgage calculators that'll help you through and understand what the points are all about. You've got easy steps they can take along the way. Keller Williams is a company that began in 1983. They're the professionals in making sure that you find the home of your dreams as well as selling yours to get the best investment out of it. Let me ask you this, Kara, before we let you go. Obviously, you're really joining these people in a very exciting time in their life, yet at a very kind of scary and overwhelming time. Is that what makes it rewarding for you to do this type of work?
Absolutely. Generally, people's home buying experiences are one of the biggest events in their lives. And the most rewarding part is to be able to help someone through that every step of the way, and making sure that all the details are taken care of. So not only are you buying your first home with me, but perhaps you're buying your second home, you're selling, you're investing in real estate in the future, because you feel comfortable and you know that the professional will be there for you throughout the process.
Absolutely. Like I said before, quite honestly, it's a big undertaking for somebody like a consumer, but many times we're only doing this once or maybe twice every 10, 20 years. This is something you do every day, day in and out. How important is continual education?
Continuing education is critical. It is the only way that you can stay on top of things. Like we mentioned earlier, the market is always changing. Things are always changing. And to have someone on top of that at all times for you is really the only way to go.
Excellent. Last time, viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. You're going to see her personal webpage there with Keller Williams. Her contact information is right there. You can basically just reach out there. You can also find her on Facebook. She'll keep you apprised of some of the changes out there in real estate, let you know of some of the areas that are moving hot out there. And like we said, this is an industry that is constantly changing. That is Keller Williams, located in downtown Denver. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know. Until next time, if you know of a business who you feel the whole city should know about, nominate them, we'll send a reporter out. This is Gary Atencio from CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.